Heavy metal, YouTube, rock and roll. Okay, what's up, guys? Okay, as I had promised, I think if anybody watched my last video, I had promised an adult theme video, and I'm doing it at 5:28 in the morning, so my daughter's asleep, my wife's asleep. I'd actually started at 4 o'clock to do this, and my computer froze up. I think I was like 13 minutes in, so you can at least expect a 13-minute video. I've done it once, maybe I can do it faster. Okay, so we'll start with the first thing I've got, and I've actually got some more of these Freak Brothers. If anybody knows anything about adult comics, this is the Freak Brothers from the late 60s, early 70s. And if you'll notice, that art looks a lot like Mad Magazine. Now, if I remember right, I think this guy did some Mad Magazine. Maybe he did Crazy. I'm thinking this has a link to non-adult. I'll show you something. This comic's actually pretty brittle. Pretty old. Look where I'm going. I've had some vodka, okay? Bear with me. But, it's pretty cool stuff. If you ever see these, I got them from 50-cent box, so I can't complain if they are. Look, he's got a joint. One of the stories in this one, maybe not this one. One of the Freak Brother comics, I've got another one, and one of the guys picks up a girl at a festival, and in that story, you know, it shows them screwing all the time, getting high. It's about drugs and sex. So, well, at some point he's away, and you see her screwing all the other roommates. Well, eventually, the story ends up where she's giving all 3 of the roommates syphilis, and I can't remember how it ends, but you don't read that in comics every day. So that's 1960 something. So, you know, you're sitting there going, oh, dude, all 3 of them got syphilis, dude. Oh, shit. So, yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. When I read that, I laughed. So, okay, and here's some things from the 80s. And I think I've read this one just to see if I liked it. And I did. Well, I guess it's pretty cool. So then I bought some of these. I remember my brother and his friend buying some of these. And actually, it's the same friend that found his niece or whatever, found the comics in the trash and gave them to me. So he always likes the darker side of stuff, and now I'm starting to get into that. So, and I think actually Dark Kiss has come back out, Black Kiss 2 or something. And these are pretty adult, so I need to go back, and my first issue is like number 10. So if I can get number 1, I'd like to collect all these. So then I'll read them all. And this is something kind of new from Vertigo Pop. It's Bangkok. This is actually not too bad. It was a slow read, but trust me, I've read worse things from DC lately, so yeah. We all know. It's so hard to hold on to the 52, isn't it? Pretty soon they're going to call it DC's 5. And there's Bangkok number 3. Bangkok number 4. Yeah. Wait a minute. I almost freaked out for a second. That's 2 sisters hugging each other. I forgot what was going on. Yeah, it's just they're hugging. Okay, and this is porn. And I won't lift it up any higher, but I got this for $1 at the flea market. So here come the Lovejoys. So okay, here and in the what was I going to say? In the 90s, I was a 20-year-old man, and of course, 20-year-old man single. You watch certain movies that aren't your normal fare, but for a 20-year-old guy, that you probably got a stack of them. And one of my favorite girls in those movies was a girl named Sarah Jane Hamilton. So Carnal Comics started making adult film stars comics, and I know I don't remember how many stars they did, but this is the only one I've gotten. It's a 3-issue series, and if I remember, I had 1 and 3, and it took me a long time to track down number 2. So you can't go to my comic shop and buy it. I don't think you can go to My High and buy it. I think I actually had to find like a single seller and bought number 2. So these are actually pretty adult. Let's see if I can pull something out here and show you without getting banned on YouTube. No, can't see that. No, can't. No. Black and white, of course. So, I'll go to the front of the photo. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much covered up. There's the first page. There's Sarah Jane Hamilton promoting her comic. So it's got real photos throughout it. There we go, right there. So, and the thing about Sarah Jane Hamilton is, if anybody has some alternative knowledge about alternative books, alternative movies, she's a squirt chick. That's her thing. So that's another. Yeah. Well, if you don't know what that is, look it up. Squirt chick. So. Oh, there's number 2. Yep, there's number 2. Carnal Comics. And these are biographies and biographies. They're life stories, so they're interesting. Reading a porn star's life's 10 times more exciting than reading, I don't know, any of the 52, most of 52. And I like some of it. I love Batwoman. I'm not that far to giving it up because I love it. But, you know what, there's things that, I don't know, there's things I love more. Step it up, DC. Okay, wait a minute. Before we get into this next one, adult comics and vodka. Let's get it on. Oh, no. I shouldn't sing. Okay. Now, here's a series that I remember my brother and the friend that I said that is now friends with me. The thing was, my brother had friends growing up, and my brother was at one end of the hallway, and I was at the other end of the hallway, and his friends would come over to him. My brother was pretty square, and so I'm in my bedroom, you know, they're in there drawing, whatever, which they were all artists, and I'm in my bedroom. I was a musician, I played drums, I'm listening to Motley Crue, some Kiss, some Dokken, and I'm in there drinking, smoking a bit. Now these couple friends rock down the hall to my room. So I was the cooler brother. So this is early high school. So now to this date, these are more my friends than my brother. They're still friends with my brother, but you know we've got a stronger. But actually, if you watch the Star Trek movie, the 2 guys, the Snotty and the Boner, that's the 2 guys. So yeah, I stole those from my brother. They were my party buddies growing up, so, and watch those, and just try not to be offended because those movies are 15, 20 years old. We're not trying to pretend that we're freaking actors, and we're not trying to pretend that they're good, but it's a hilarious look into just somebody's life who was buzzing every time we filmed them. These guys are drunk. You watch it, these guys, oh yeah, I can tell these guys are drunk. But it's funny. We don't pretend they're anything spectacular. So, you know, that's true amateur filming. I get on YouTube and I see amateur film. No, you got a guy who went to college doing the camera. You got a guy who went to college to do the script. That's not amateur filming. You're borderline fucking, you know, real. So yeah, our shit's, you know, amateurs. We all got cameras. Hey, let's just film a movie. you do it in 10 minutes, that's amateur shit, so fuck all those other guys. So if you want to see some real amateur stupidity, go watch my movies. And it's not just drunk dumbasses. There's a little bit of story there, but I think, okay, be the judge yourself. So if you look on my channel and look earlier, you'll see a lot of our movies. So anyways, the comic that my brother and his friend collected, which I remember acquiring at some point and reading them when I was high, and very adult. It's doll number 1. The thing about doll is there's this guy, and this is doll number 3, so I'll show you its first cover. I don't have them 2 actually, but if you see that guy's like hideous. See that guy? He's got these gross all over his face, and well, thing is he's so ugly. He's a virgin, so somehow he finds this sculptor, and he sees these beautiful sculptings of girls and all these things that this guy's done. And he asks this guy, he's like, you know, I'm lonely. Will you sculpt me a wife, a girlfriend? Will you sculpt me something that I could love? Because, you know, I'm dying from loneliness. And the guy's actually, you know, wow, God, I think I should, but the thing is, this is the price. This guy can't afford that. Well, somehow he ends up talking to a guy he knows who hears a story about this poor guy who just wants to be loved. He's so hideous, no one will ever love him. And so this guy finances this doll to be made for this guy, and it's one of those sex dolls. If you know, nowadays you can pay like $5,000-$6,000 for those real sex dolls. This is 1980 something. I don't know if they even had those in. So this may be a precursor to that. I mean, we talk about Star Trek being so freaking awesome because it thought of this shit before, and they thought of sex dolls. I mean, like real dolls. So, okay. So anyways, so he sculpts this doll for this guy, and this doll's so beautiful that the guy who put up the money decides, I don't know if I can let this go, you know? So the poor guy, the ugly guy that he made it for, he's already fallen in love with it as they're sculpting. He comes in, keeps seeing the thing being made, and he's just in love. This is going to be his wife, you know? And, well, then this other guy decides to exploit this doll, and he takes it from him. So this guy never gets it. Well, I think in issue 3, you find out that those cancerous growths on the guy's face are cancer. Of course, cancerous. And he ends up dying in that issue, but I don't think he ever gets with doll. And that's horrible. It was made for him. That was his only happiness, and he dies. So I think they end up getting it back at the end of issue 3, and the sculptor makes a sculpt of the hideous man and lays doll out and has a sculpt of the hideous guy, you know, on top of her, missionary style. So that's the way they'll be for life. So when you come into his gallery, it's the doll and the hideous guy mounting her. So I mean, he never got to have sex with her, but his sculpt of him did. Well, people thought that was the end of the series, and all of a sudden, issue 4 comes out, and it's continued. Well, this homeless guy wanders in and sees this setup of this beautiful... Everyone who sees this doll is just in love with her. I mean, she's so gorgeous, so beautifully sculpted that... I mean, there's definitely magic in her, because, I mean, it's like any beautiful woman you see her, you gotta have her. But we don't go to these links, but this doll... This homeless guy steals her out of the display, and now this homeless guy's on the street with her. He's got her in his box with him, and he's having sex with her nonstop. The other hobos are coming by, and they're going, "What's going on here?" He's in there having sex with her, and they're like, "Oh my God!" And she's not real, and they're all, "Can I squeeze her titty?" So they're squeezing. Well, then the comic goes on, and they all start having sex with her. So it's just, I don't know how these people fit in this box. So it's weird. It's a weird comic, but it's good. I'm sure it's adult, but there's actually a story there. But eventually, the homeless guy, I don't remember, some guy tries to steal it from him, and he kills the guy. So he ends up on the top of a a billboard sign. He takes the doll up there with him, and he's up there, and the cops are calling down, come down, you're under arrest. And he's like, if I can't have you, no one can. So, I'm pretty sure he throws, I don't know if he throws himself and doll off at the same time, or he just throws doll at first. But anyways, when doll falls, she just hits the ground and bounces. Of course, she's fake. But he dies. But all through this comic, there's a constant, everyone who sees her, there's a new subplot coming in of someone who's got to have her because this doll is so pretty. Everyone wants to have sex with her. So it's, I mean, seriously, it's honestly a comic about people that have to have sex with this doll. So it'd be like someone buying one of those real dolls. And actually, everyone who has this doll, their life goes to shit because this doll is so amazing that, yeah, people are just fucking up their life trying to get to this doll. It's an amazing comic, actually. So if you have a chance to get, okay, there's one. I rambled on there. Blame Vodka. There's 3. There's 4. This is after the series was thought to end, and it keeps going. There's 5. There's 6. And there's 7. I don't know if it went to 9, 8. I know I'm missing a couple. I know I'm missing 2 at least. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, I think I'm missing 2 and 9, or maybe just 2. So, but if you get a chance, if you're flipping through, if your comic store's got an adult section, buy those, especially if they're $1 a piece. I guarantee you'll love them. I mean, you'll think adult comics ain't doing that stuff. Promise you it's great. The art's not bad either. Okay, and then another comic that really got me into this adult kind of theme thing, not just for its nudity, but for the stories. If anyone has ever seen Chester Brown's Yummy Furs, these are freaking brilliant. And I don't remember the story for every one of these, but I'll give you a highlight of some of these. So there's number 10. Yeah, this one's funny. It says, first issue, haha, just kidding. Actually, it's the 15th issue. So, yeah, this one. I already know by looking at the cover what this is. Yummy Fur number 22. And before we get into that, we'll show you. I think there's a couple this comic was inspired by Yummy Fur, honestly. And it's a comic called Luba. And I've got 1 and 7. And I don't think it went very far either. But this is like, it's pretty good. It reminds me when I read it, it's Yummy Fur. I found this before I was able to track down the Yummy Furs. And I was just as happy reading these. Just really messed up. Her husband's like a burn victim. She's like married to like an older man, but he like got burned up. But Luba's like I don't know what she is, but she has a lot of sex with a lot of people. So if you ever see these cheap, just pick those up too. Don't be scared. It's okay. It's alright. There's another Luba. But, okay. Back to the Yummy Fur stuff. I know in one of the comics, and I said it's Chester Brown is the artist and the storyteller, he takes things from his life. But in the Yummy Fur, he takes things from his life, but he also has stories he wrote. This comic is part of his life, but pretty sure this is the issue where it shows him he had discovered some dirty magazines as a kid, a young adult, and he had when he found them, he hid them under a board in a field. So every day on the way home from school, he stops by to visit those dirty magazines. So, yeah, it's just, we've all done it. My dirty magazines weren't under a board in a field, but y'all had your hiding place. Don't lie. You're lying. No, okay. So anyways, check these out, dude. I'm serious. These are bizarre. And there's another Yummy Fur comic, and I don't remember which it is. And it's this guy wakes up, and on the head of his penis is so it was done in the 80s, of course. On the head of his penis is Ronald Reagan's head. So he's just like waking up going, what the heck? President Reagan? So there's all these adventures that ensue, and eventually you find out the only way he can, they find a dead body, and the only way he can get President Reagan back to our future, or our time, our universe, is to insert his Reagan head into the anus of a dead guy. So that's the kind of comic it is. And to tell you, at that time I'm in my room, it's down the hall from my brother's, and I'm reading G.I. Joe comics. You know, I'm reading Alpha Flight, I'm reading X-Men. And then my brother down the hall is reading these freaking Reagan's heads on a penis, and you got to stick it in the dead guy's butt. I'm just going, what the hell's going on with my brother? So eventually one day I got, and I stumbled down there, and let's read these Yummy Furs, and I was addicted. So you can't, it's hard. If you see these Yummy Furs, please buy them. They are so hard to find. I mean, I find them on YouTube all the time, but I find it one at a time. You know, I don't want to spend $2.50 on an issue, or $3.50 or $5, and then spend $5 shipping. So I'm not spending $7.50 per issue. If I can find these $1.10 or whatever on my comic, but they don't have them, do yourself a favor and pick them up. And another theme that ran in the Yummy Furs. I mean, this is the bizarre stuff in Chester Brown's head. This is a vampire themed thing, or yeah, vampire. Another thing in there was this guy. Every story is not really necessarily connected to the other. There might be a story arc went 4 issues, but they're not necessarily connected to each other. And one of them was this guy who couldn't stop shitting, so he continually shits and shits and shits, and he starts filling up his house with shit. So it starts filling up his town. Well, now the government's involved with this guy who can't stop shitting. Well, at some point in the comic, you had seen that the government, I think it's actually the beginning of the comic, had found this fucking hole in just the air in, like, I don't know, some state where things disappeared into. So now this guy has been discovered who shits nonstop and can't quit shitting. He's filling up the earth with shit. Well, the government decides that they're going to hook this guy's ass into this portal that goes to another dimension or whatever it does. They don't care. Hook his ass up and let him shit somewhere else. So that's what happens. So this guy's sitting on this big machine that leads into the shit hole. Well, what that does is that goes to another dimension, and there's people there. So now there's a war started between dimensions from the fecal. Maybe we call it the fecal wars. So that's the fucked up shit in this book. I mean, sure, it's got nudity and there's sex in that. There's sex in the dog, like I said, non-stop. Yummy Fur, there's a little bit of sex. But the storytelling, and it's just so amazing. Just, I mean, it sounds like anybody could write that, but did you write it? You didn't write it. No, you didn't write it. So, anyways, the thing I wanted to show you, I told you I bought a book the other day, $25 book that actually brought this all back around. And the reason I thought about these comics was Chester Brown, the guy who did the Yummy Fur comics. He also just now released a comic called, well, it's actually a book called Paying For It. Well, Chester Brown, he is a man in Canada. Maybe Question Bromstar, maybe Doc and Hollett, maybe they know this guy. Not know him. You don't go to his house to hang out and drink beers. Do you? Probably not. Anyways, they'll know of this guy. But Chester Brown, he at some point in his life, he decided that prostitution was okay. So he started going to these prostitute brothels, because I guess in Canada brothels are legal. Maybe I got that wrong. Whatever this book says, he's going to them. Streetwalkers aren't, I guess. So this whole book, paying for it. See, it says a comic strip memoir about being a John, Chester Brown. And his art is very, very generic. And actually, this is more generic than even the Yummifers, I think. But I tell you what, he gets his character of himself dead on. There's Chester Brown, and it's mostly conversation. I mean, if you want explosions and alien invasions, this ain't the book, man. This is pretty much just a biography. And yeah, it's the first time he goes to a hooker. He goes in there. Yeah, he goes in there. He's paranoid. He's looking under the bed, make sure there's no cops in there. But literally, it's cool. I mean, it's fine. There's I mean, almost every page has got. There's that. There's him getting a blowjob. So this book is pretty good, man. It's thick, and it's all cartoon. Well, there's some stuff at the end where he talks. There's like interviews with people that are actually in the book. Characters. I mean, these are all real people that are in this book. These are from his life. So he interviews a lot of them at the end. So there's cartoon, and then there's. This is a great book, man. Even if you can rent it, I don't think you can get this from the freaking library, but if a buddy's got it, just borrow it. So, okay, well, that's all I've got on the adult front. I don't want people to give some adult stuff a chance. I've not heard anybody talk about any of that here. I don't know if it's because people don't have it or they're ashamed. But, man, there's some good stuff, so embrace it. Okay. Till next time. Later.